Hey everybody. So in this video, I'm gonna continue on from where I was in the last one. So let's see. The next thing that he talked about, he meaning Sadhu, was that there's going to be false prophets that will make their way to the entry of the ultimate false prophet. Now, just to tell you guys right away, I'll tell you in black and white, Pope Francis is the false prophet. Sadhu was caught up to heaven, and he was told specifically that Pope Francis was the false prophet. He was also actually told that Trump was going to be president, which is why you guys saw those one posts that I was doing. I don't know if you did or not, but I did some posts dedicating Trump to the glory of God and what have you. But anyway, so now there's also going to be false Christs. So what is a false Christ? Well, a Christ is, we obviously know Jesus Christ, but there's many religions, almost every one of them, actually he did say every one of them, have a type of Messiah. Hindus have a Messiah, Islam have a Messiah, the Jews have a Messiah, we have a Messiah, and all of them, to each one of them, are the Christ. Now, all these false Christs are going to make the way for the Antichrist. Okay, there's going to be a one world religion, which is going to be Islam, but I'll get into that when I come to the seals, the breaking of the seals, and understanding what those mean. So when they come, men are going to fall. But why? Why are men going to fall? One of the huge things that are going to bring people down is pride. It's important to understand, or not to understand. It's important to be humble. And the other thing is going to be disobedience. Disobedience is going to bring people down. So it's important to understand what the obedience is that God desires of his children, of his people. Now, if you stay humble, you will never fall. If you stay humble and try to be as obedient as you can, you will never fall. You'll be all right. You'll be just fine. Now, when it comes to like for example, an aspect of pride could be of let's say that somebody is given prophetic power to heal the sick or whatever, and they go out there and say, "Oh, look at me! Look at what I did." That right there is gonna get you struck down. It not with lightning or anything, but it's gonna get you to a point where you will be humbled. Now, Jesus came to Sadhu at one point and brought him into a vision, and in the vision, Jesus was sitting there, Sadhu was sitting there, and there was a window off to the side, and there was a light shining through it. And Jesus looked at Sadhu. He said, "What do you see? What do you see?" And Sadhu said, "A window with light coming out of it." And then Jesus waited for a couple seconds and asked, "What do you see?" And he's like, "I don't know, dust particles inside the light." After he examined it close enough to see a little bit more so that he could try to give the right answer to Jesus. He's like, "Dust particles inside the light?" And Jesus said, "What do you see?" And he said, "There's a window with light coming through it with dust particles in there." and Jesus said, "Dust particles are too small to see. What you see is the light reflecting off the dust particles." So he said that when you heal someone, or when you share his name with someone, they're not seeing you. You're the dust particle. And they're not seeing you, they're seeing the light reflecting off of you that shines off of you, that shines the light of the Lord off of you. Too awesome. And there was one time when this application actually got to happen. There was a lady that was in a wheelchair that he that found out that Sadhu was going to be speaking, to a big group in a conference or whatever, and she was in a different state, I think, and she thought in her mind, if he lays hands on me, I will be healed, and so she I think she went from Moscow. I don't remember where it was, but she came from where she was coming to where he was having the conference, and she came to him. She said, Sadhu, I'm in this wheelchair. Please lay hands on me so that I can be healed. And I think Sadhu felt that God didn't want, or that Sadhu felt that God did not want him to, and so he didn't. And she kept coming to him each day for the conference. It was like a week or something, and I think after the 6th day, she kept reminding him. On the 7th day, she totally forgot, but he remembered because God told him about it, and and so this is what happened. It's so awesome. Um, at the very end of the conference, the glory and power of God came into that conference and healed so many people. Healed the sick, the blind, just you name it. Everybody was healed. And you want to know who else was healed? The lady in the wheelchair was healed. She got up out of her wheelchair and she was able to walk. Praise God. That's absolutely awesome. And so what this meant was God didn't want Sadhu to lay his hands on her. He wanted to heal her directly. And where's the pride in that? There is no pride. It's just God's power. Okay, now I'm going to skip over to a bit of the Antichrist stuff. Now, the Antichrist, it's unknown who he's going to be. The false prophet is Pope Francis. But he is going to rise up out of Berlin, Germany. There's going to be 3 headquarters that the Antichrist is going to rule in. And the one in Berlin is the political headquarters. There will be a religious headquarters and an economic headquarters. And that's what's going to happen with that. And then what do you say? Teachings from deceiving spirits, this people will fall away when the son of perdition comes on the scene. I don't remember what he's talking about that. So Luke 21:25 talks about there will be trouble through the waters. The seas and the waves will draw to tsunamis, typhoon. Oh, there's going to be... Oh, what was that? All right, I got to look it up. Hang on. I'm sorry. I am so unprepared. Can you guys tell I'm new at this? Luke 21:25 is, there will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars, and on the earth nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea. That's right. Okay. Yeah. So that verse actually talks about what's going on now. We have tsunamis, hurricanes, and floods and all that kind of stuff, natural disasters in diverse places happening pretty much everywhere. They're going to continue and they're going to keep increasing because it's what goes on, and it's the way that it's going to happen. Now in Matthew 24:12 it says that the love of many will grow cold, and during perilous times our mindsets are going to change, and sin is just going to rule in our heart, and people are going to start behaving pretty much like animals, because our mindsets are just going to be so off kilter, and love is just going to be, dropped way, the love meter is just going to be dropped way down. And now, one thing I will guarantee you will see the coming of Jesus. Not your kids, you. When Sadhu declared this, he didn't give a date. He did not give a date because nobody knows the date or the time of when Jesus is coming back. But when he mentioned the hang on a minute. When he mentioned, hold on, I keep getting interrupted. When he mentioned about the coming of Jesus to the group of people that he was talking about, I'm guessing that there was probably like older people there, maybe 50 or so, and so I would think that they would, I would think that if it's going to be before their death, before they die. I mean, let's say that someone lives for 80 years, 80 or 90 or whatever. If someone in that room was 50 and he is declaring that they will see Jesus before going home, or before dying or whatever. What's 80 minus 50? 60, 70. That's like 30 years. So yeah, I don't know. That's my own thinking. That he didn't say that. That's my own thinking. So don't take that as take it as in quotes. Now, it has been made known now what the mark of the beast is. A lot of people have speculated that it was what it's going to be, and they're actually correct. Anyone take a guess? You probably guessed right. It's the RFID chip. Seriously, the RFID chip. If anybody takes the mark, they will lose their place in heaven. And there's already people who've been taking it. There's already people who've been taking it. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to get emotional. This is going to be the final sign of our allegiance to either God or Satan. Now, the false prophets and the false teachers are going to teach that it is okay to take the mark. Oh, just go ahead and take it. It's no big deal, no problem at all. And the other thing that hyper grace type Christianity is going to do is, oh, God knows my heart. He knows I wouldn't really actually mean it. It's not that way. It's not that way. If it was that way, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego wouldn't have bowed before the idol. Or they would have bowed before the idol saying, oh, God understands my heart. He understands my heart. There's no problem. No. When Shadrach, Meshach, for those of you who don't know the story about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they were three boys who worshiped God, and the king of the area, I forget what King Nebuchadnezzar set up an idol statue of himself, which the Antichrist is going to actually set up also and force people to worship, in the same way that these three boys were told to worship that idol that he set up. They decided that they weren't going to do it. So they're in this huge crowd of people that are all laying down with their faces to the ground before this idol, and they were standing. They were standing for God. They were standing for God, and the king was enraged. Like, what are you guys doing? You need to be bowing before my idol. I'm king. And what they did was they told him, they said, "O king, live forever, but we worship God. We're not going to bow before this idol that you have set up before us, because our God is able to save us from it, and He will save us from your hand. But," now this is the faith part right here, "even if He does not, we will not bow down before this idol that you have set up before us." And so the king was enraged and ordered that the fiery furnace that they were to be tossed into was to be set 7 times hotter. And they bound the boys, and the guards died because the flames were so hot as they were throwing them in. And when they threw him in, the king leaped up to his feet, and he was just like, "Wow, what is going on here? Advisors, wasn't there 3 boys that I threw into the fire?" And, yeah, there was. Well, then who's that 4th in there? That 4th was, it was either the theophany of Jesus before he actually came from heaven into the manger as God in the flesh, or it could have been an angel. I don't know what exactly it was, but nevertheless, what the king told the boys to come out of the furnace, and he saw that the smell of smoke was not on them, and they weren't burned by the fire at all. And the king ordered that the Most High God is to be worshipped. So so the false teachers and the prophets are going to say it's okay to take the mark, and they're going to make it so simple to do. It's going to be so simple. It's going to be like walking from one room to another. That easy. It's and for those who resist, obviously, money is, if you want to get into a grocery store, well, you gotta show me your hand. Show me your hand so I can get in. Or if you want to buy gas, or if you want electricity, just all these different things, you're gonna have to have the mark in order to be able to do those things. But just to tell you a little bit about that I know about that is the powers of the age to come, last company, are going to actually be helping people in intercession with this. The people who are remaining faithful to God when they don't have any food and they can't eat, you know what? The powers of the age to come, last company, is going to come sent by God. They're going to be going up into the 3rd heaven, up and down and out of the 3rd heaven to receive instruction and from God. And maybe their instruction is to go to a place where they don't have any food, and they're going to conjure food out of thin air. They're going to go from one place to another, translocate from one place to another to pull someone out of the way of a bullet that's firing toward them. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Now, in the next video, I'm going to talk about the SEALs. Not the Navy SEALs and not beach SEALs, but the SEALs of Revelation. I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks. Grace and peace.